So why do you think you have been born with these memories like this? What do you think the reason for it is?
Well, there are many reasons. Depends on when do you want to see it. Since I was a child, when I describe where I was in the universe, I describe actually the eighth dimension. And the eighth dimension is the toroid, is the information of all times. So I call it Thamtiorga, which is an Atlantean name for all the books that are seen by the one eye, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So it's another word for library.
Mm-hmm.
And so this network is like the Weaver's network, is a place or a concept, a dimension where the beings work like spiders, weaving webs, weaving the technology of the mind.
Mm-hmm.
So my task in that specific level was to send data codes to energy. So download mind into energy,
Mm-hmm.
mind into energy,
Mm-hmm.
mind. So my work was like, I felt like an electron on a internet cable. Like that, the feeling is like being an electron in a cable for Wi-Fi. So that was the
Mm-hmm.
that was the feeling, like 11101 110, like
Mm-hmm.
like this to color, like that was kind of the idea. So to translate it emotionally, when I wrote it and I
Mm-hmm.
tried to describe it as a 12-year-old boy, what I described was I used to travel the universe from one world to another, and I used to go to the souls that had no purpose and told them stories about the worlds that I had just seen. So I told a story, I have seen this in this world. So they fell in love with the stories and they decided to go to those worlds to live. So they called me storyteller. I was like a storyteller of the universe, like many thousands of them. But actually, it was describing the task of an electron downloading
Mm-hmm.
information into energy, and so because of that, I remember I was tied to billions of souls that have been knowing where to go and what to do because of me. So I was tied to the memory of all these souls that have been living.
Mm-hmm.
So because of that, I was connected to the memory of all of them. And when they all were born in this moment, in this reality, they created a net that I waved myself. So allowed me to exist.
Wow.
So that's one of the reasons why I remember in this life, because I think that most of the souls that I was leading to do something, they are born today, even if I don't know them. Maybe they're just a tree or a pet, I don't know. But there are many of those that created the perfect pattern for me to come.
Mm-hmm.
Not to come for the first time, but to come remembering, because they unlocked it somehow by being born. The other reason of why I think I remember now is because in that life, 12,000 years ago, in the Atlantean Egypt, there were people from Sirius coming to meetings.
Mm-hmm.
They usually were covered like in veils, so
Mhm.
nobody could see them.
Mm-hmm.
So they would walk through. We went to a part of the desert to look for them in boats, and we would bring them to the main hall
Mm-hmm.
of water in front of the Sphinx, to the temple, and they
Because the
would.
river used to go all the way up to the front of the Sphinx.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I remember that, the water in front.
Mhm.
So we would leave the ships there, and they would walk with us to the Spain temples, which one of the most important was the Temple of the Valley today.
Yeah.
So as we were there, they used to sit like on this table or in like kind of a throne or something, very simple, but like a throne. They were all covered, and when they talked to each other, they would like bend the head to one another, like if they were trying to listen to each other, but they didn't speak. They just touched their heads, and that's it. And then they would communicate just with hands and symbols that someone would translate for us. But we all had to be like this. We shouldn't stare at them. And I remember staring. Like I remember like looking at them, and one of them turned like this and saw me in the eye, and in the moment, in the second that he saw me, I remembered what I was supposed to do, because he was talking through future. So he said something and told me that because I dared to see him, now my burden would be to remember my future. And this, he said that I would meet him in the mirror of time, which is 12,000 years after.
Mm-hmm.
So I remember this recording the second season of Gaia.
Mm-hmm.
I was recording and
An initiation. Mm-hmm.
initiation, and Jurka started to ask me questions about the details.
I know where this is going.
Yeah, and how is this and how this, and I don't usually think about it.
Mm-hmm.
So I went and started to describe what was happening exactly. And as I went and I saw it, I suddenly broke, because I saw the eye, I saw the whole thing, and I literally started to cry and fell on the floor, and I started to scream, "I shouldn't have seen his eyes," like this, and everyone in the studio were like, "What is going on?" So they had to take me out and everything. And I remember Jurka being very still and saying, "Do you want me to leave this recorded?" Or I was like, "I don't think so."
That's really funny.
Yeah, that's the other reason.